integration love story. So what we mean about that is that everyone has an integration love story. Everyone has this business case, this technology, this customer, or something that we did where we actually like fell in love with integration. You talked about some of them, but do you have one
I've got a
story?
great,
Yeah.
yeah, I've got a great one. I'll tell you about a time I made myself redundant, which actually I think, especially when if you happen to work as a freelancer, as I often did, making yourself redundant's kind of a good thing to do in some ways. But so I mentioned this big UK IT project where I first met Saravana and Yossi and some of the other guys. One of the things I had to do on that project was HL7 messaging.
Mm.
So we had a big biz talk thing. We had to parse and transform HL7 messages, and my mini sub team. So there was me, and there was one other guy from a third party vendor who helped us do the mapping. Was how So what would happen is they had a document that would describe all the HL7 messages that we're getting, and then they'd have it. So in addition to the Word document, they have an export from this third-party tool with an XML definition of what all the messages look like, and it was HL7v2.
Mm.
And what happened was every few days or every week, we'd get an update of this document and this XML extract, and we'd have to go and make changes to all of the maps and the parsers and everything.
Mm.
And it was the worst job. It's like it was so tedious. I mean, in some ways, it was a job for life,
Yeah.
because they would change it, and you'd have to work out what had changed, and I was just like, oh, I don't know how much more. Like, I think I'm one of these people where anything that or things that I find dull to do, it's like, how can I automate this? Because my brain doesn't deal with those kind of things well. And one day, so we're on this project, and you come up with these stupid ideas in the stupidest of places. I think it was like having a shower or something, and it was like just a oh my god moment.
Yeah.
And like full Back to the Future, fall off the toilet, come up with
Yeah.
a flux capacitor kind of thing. And we basically, I went in the next day and I'm chatting to the guy I worked with, and I was like, I've got this really crazy idea. What? Tell me, tell me this is stupid or tell me this is genius. And we basically thought, actually, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So what we did, instead of building the maps to transform the document, to transform the HL7 messages, we basically built a new map that would take the input of the Word document and the XML extract. So you can see Ahmed thinking map. When I say map, I didn't actually mean a BizTalk map in this case. We had this third party thing.
Yeah.
But think of it, so our input is the Word document and the giant XML file of definitions. And we built a transform tool for integration where the output was maps that would transform the messages, parsers that would parse the messages, sample messages for every single possible combination, and unit tests for every single possible test scenario.
Mm.
What we did was we get an updated spec. We spend days transforming the messages, put them in, building the things, put them in the test environment. Then they'd give us a new one, and we go and change them again. So you can never really test anything. So what we ended up with was they give us a new version of the document in the XML file. We click a button. 2 minutes later, we've got 2,000 sample messages, 2,000 unit tests, a whole new set of maps. We run NUnit, and they all pass, and then we just deploy this to the environment, and that's the job done. And we've taken both of our jobs from being full time, bored as hell, doing nothing but this stuff, to being a click of a button and a deployment task, and then we got involved in other projects, and that was the bit on.
This is amazing, and I'm really curious actually to see
But
this.
where was the? I mean, it's a brilliant story, and I mean, but what where is the actual love moment? Is it when you got the idea or when it actually worked?
It was for me, it was the idea, because it was just thinking about the problem differently. You know, we sometimes in integration we get so focused on how do we solve the thing in front of us,
Yeah.
and I was just thinking about the problem differently to suddenly realize actually we could do this at a, you know, instead of the building the transform, we build the, I think at Lord of the Rings, I'm sure was out at the time, and it was the one we joked about it, the one map to rule them all kind of idea. Um, and it was, you know, for me that was the bit where it kind of really, I guess, cemented that idea of just thinking a bit more outside the box than I had been doing in the past. Like for me, it was like a level up moment in my career where I realised that actually I could do a bit more than what I was doing, and you know, and we got involved in other projects from there, and you know, and otherwise it would have been months stuck on the most boring project.
Mhm.
And we actually built the coolest solution probably I've ever built. And honestly, it didn't take that long to build it. It was only like a few days to build it,
Yeah.
and then we did all the other cool stuff instead, which you know.
And imagine the cost savings that you actually, or the business value that you actually brought in this.
Wow,
Amazing.
that was I didn't know that kind of stuff then though. So
Yeah, but
really,
Yeah, but
we,
it's until today, HL7 is like it's a nightmare. Until
yeah,
it doesn't matter the older it gets, get more what do you call it, harder when it's aged. It's
yeah,
just
it's
we didn't
you know,
get better
back
as integrators one at the time.
back then nobody really knew what we did. That was so cool
Yeah,
because we were so far detached from the people who really
yeah.
would have like understood the business value of what we did, and we didn't really know how to communicate that up and stuff like that. But it was a really cool project at the time.